Hey, so in this video, I will show you how you can go from Zoom recording to Google Drive and then trigger a lot of automations after that. The use case that we're going to cover today is take your Google video recording that is in your Google Drive and then send it to a customer. So let's say you're a practitioner, you're doing like therapy sessions through Zooms or something like that, or coaching sessions through Zoom, and you send the recording after to your clients. So let's dive right into it. First things first, I just covered the use case where I talked in the last video. So just to give you an idea, you can see that Zoom gives you 5 GB of storage for 12 euros, while you can get 3 times that with the free Google account, and for the same price, you can get 2 TB of storage. So you can get a lot more storage with just Google with that workflow. If you want to know how you can configure that, go to my previous video. You'll be able to find all of the information there. All right, so to configure that, again, what you have to do is to make sure that you have your Google Drive folder configured. So for that, you have to make sure that your Zoom folder is in there and that your Google Drive has stream files. And then you will need the Google Drive trigger in Pably Connect to look for the new folder and specific folder. So if we look into the folder of if you go in like my computer, you'll see Zoom. So we're gonna look into Zoom, and the ID of the folder to look in is this one in the URL here. So then we'll pick the folder Zoom. We'll get the response that we're gonna get, and that will mean that we're gonna monitor when there's, let's say, a new folder like this one that would appear in the Zoom folder. What that means now is that what we're gonna do is we need a specific structure for this video for this full automation to work in the way that we want it to work. So we're gonna go in Zoom, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a schedule or an event, and we have to name it with the name of the person, and then the language that we want. This way, what I'll make possible is we're gonna be able to get the first name. Let's say that we do like John Doe. We'll be able to get the first name, the email, to who to send, and in which language to send the email. And then I would just, record it and then stop it. Then what would happen is the files would be uploaded directly in the Google Drive. So and then that would bring the new folder in it. So then now you can see that I got the last response. The last response contained the name that I did, contain the name right here. So the issue in the Zoom folder, in the Zoom recording folder, is that it always has like the date, the time, and then you have all of the information after that. So what we're gonna need to do first is to make sure that there is an at in the name and a hyphen, just to make sure. Because let's say that you record plenty of other videos in Zoom, the issue that you will have is that the workflow would be triggered in a case where you might not want to. So just to save, let's say, tokens or credits in Pably Connect, but as well as making sure you're not sending the email, you're not, sending the email to anyone that you don't want to, that would be the first place to do. So you put a filter there. And then we're gonna remove the date from the from this, and then we're going to that'll give us the date. So that'll give us the date, and then we remove the date with that. So first we extract it, and then we remove the date here. We take the name, we take where to find, the date, and then space, and then we put it blank. As you can see, like the number here, just for you to see, the number here is the number of the steps. So step 3 is we extract the date, and then step 4 is we remove the date from the name based on the date date and time that we have extracted. And then we split the meeting detail in 3. So let's say that we have Hugo at, and then email, and then name, and then language. We will split at where there's a space, hyphen space, and that will give us the name, the email, and then the language. From there, we're going to split the name in half. Why we do that is, again, if you remember, we had at first we had John Doe here. So what that does is we need to have a just a first name, because when you're gonna send the email, you want to know, you want to send the email like "Hi John" and not like "Hi John Doe." It's a bit very impersonal and very poorly automated. So you want to split the name in two with a space, and that way you can get the response. We'll get like just John, in this case Hugo. Then we're gonna replace the language. The reason why we replace the language is we want to make sure that we kind of wrap the language into a, what I would call like a protective layer. So let's say that we have a, the language is not, is like, no, the name of the person is N, and then we poorly formatted things, and then result two is En, and then anyway, you get the point. I just want to make sure that the language is remain like protected within within the bracket language. So I just take the En, find en, and then I wrap it in there. So basically, I'm looking at the language, I'm finding out the language, and then I replace it that way. And then we're gonna add a time delay. Time delay here is important because what happens is if you have Zoom recordings of like 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever long the duration of your sessions are, it might take a bit longer to upload the file fully into Google Drive, and that could cause an issue because what will happen is when you'll try later on in the workflow, when you'll try to share the file, you'll be trying to share the temporary file that is not fully updated, which is an issue because what will happen is when the person will try to open the file, it will look like it's a corrupted file. It will look like it's just not working. And then it will email you, and then you'll have to, explain. But it's just easier if you add a delay. That way, an hour, 1 hour delay should be enough for you to be able to upload a Zoom recording from a session to Google Drive. And then what we're gonna do after that is we're gonna look into the new folder that have appeared. So if you remember, step one is we look at the new folder within a specific folder. So we look at the new folder, this one, for example, we look at this one within the Zoom folder. So that way is, if we go back to this step here, we're able to get the folder ID of the new folder that appeared in the Zoom folder. And with that, we are able to get all of the data from that folder. So you have like file one, file two, file three, file four. If there's more file, you'll have file four, file five. What is important to do here is to create a JSON. Now, why is it important to create a JSON? To extract a pattern to be able to then find the file ID of the audio file, which is an M4A file. It's because right now it's a bit difficult to know like which of the file within all of the files that are in the folder that is the audio file. Like there's no real way of searching it. So the solution I came up with is I create an array, a JSON array, where I have an ID and a name for all of the files. So from file 1 to 4, so 0, 1, 2, 3, and then maybe even 4, I could even add another one. I'm adding those ID name, file 0 ID, file 0 name, file 1 ID, file 1 name. And that way, what I can do is from that text, which is a kind of JSON format, I'm able to extract the M4A format, and that gives me that response. That gives me the result 0, and then that gives me the result 1, which is exactly the ID that I needed to have. And we do the same thing for MP4. All that you have to change is the MP4 here instead of M4A. And that gives you the same response here. That gives you the ID. Then from there, we will share the M4A and the MP4 video. So what we're going to have to do, we'll have the action where it's the Google Drive, share a file with anyone, and you get the file the file ID here that we got from the step 10 and 11. And then that will give us something like this. And the web view link is exactly the link that you're going to use to send that to someone. And then you would do the same thing for MP4. We show that to share it to anyone. I'll give us the same result. And then to be able to have the right email content, because let's say that you have two languages. Let's say that you have, you have French and then you have Portuguese, or you have English and Portuguese, or English and French, or whatever language you have. What you will do is you will replace the the bracket that we have, the wrapper that we've put around the language. We'll replace that with the email content that we want. So if if the result, if the language is English, we're gonna find it, and then we're gonna replace that result with the English text. So that is the full content in HTML for the email. If let's say that the language would not be, instead of being lang en here, that would be lang pt, it would not be able to find the wrapper. It would not be able to find the lang en. So what would happen is, instead of giving here the HTML, it would return again the lang pt. So then when we would be at this step here, we would be able to see that instead of being the text here, it would be the lang pt, and then that would find the lang pt, and then that would replace it with the text. So you can do that for multiple languages. You can have like infinite languages using that principle, and that is how you are able to have your email content in different languages kind of replace or adapted every single time. And then the next step after that is to send the email, where we are going to use the HTML text based on the language. So that the step 14 and 15. So we send that to the person email, the name of the person, then the email content in HTML. And after that, that is done. That's all that you have to do. If you want, because if you look here in the email, it says like, please unload the file after for the next 7 days. After that, it will be deleted, and you'll need to spend $10 to recover it. So what you can do here, you can add a step, a delay of like 7 days, and then you will delete the file. And to delete the file, again, it's actually not the file you're going to delete, you're going to delete the folder. And the ID here should be the same ID as you have here, which is exactly the ID that we get at step 1. That is pretty much it. That is exactly how you go from Zoom recording to Google Drive, and then from Google Drive to a specific action. And in that case, that was to send an email. What you could do after that, you could have like multiple other use cases. You could have a use case where instead of sending an email, you send that to an API, let's say Whisper AI, which is to transcribe audio content in using the OpenAI API. And from there, you could then have other prompts, let's say create a summary, create an action list or whatever that you could have, and then take that and then send that to your team. So this way, you're able to kind of create different use cases based on only on one video of a session. You could even, take again, if you're a practitioner, let's say a consultant or a therapist or whatever, you could even do the same principle. You send the recording to someone and you have that sent to OpenAI, and at the same time as you send the email with the recording, you can give, let's say, oh, here's what we discussed in the session, and here's are the next steps for you. So you could have AI do that for you rather than you having to lay it out. So there's already some tools that do that when it comes to records, like Phantom, I think it's Phantom, or no, Fathom Video, I think, that do that and allows you to have some sort of plan of action with Zoom and record and everything. But you can also recreate that in a more custom way for your specific use case based on using this automation flow. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comment. If you like that video, do subscribe, and we see you in the next video. Cheers. Bye.